Hey, Bart, good to see you again.
You too. So, what are we going to be talking about today?
Today, we're going to be talking about personal branding. I like demos, but this is going to be one of the rare occasions where I'll be using slides to talk about that.
Okay. So, no code. All right, this is a no code presentation. With that being said, just jump right into it. We'd love to hear from you.
Awesome, awesome. So let me start by sharing my screen and hopefully you can see my Google Slides in a
Yep.
bit.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So, hey everyone, thanks for joining this session on personal branding, in particular, how to promote yourself for a job in tech. So, that's the focus of this session. My name is Dewan Ahmed. I'm a senior developer advocate at Red Hat. I'm also a freelance career coach. That means I help students and new grads to start or transition into software industry. I'm based out of beautiful New Brunswick, which is in the eastern part of Canada. And those are my Twitter and LinkedIn handles. I love to connect with you. So before we begin, so here's the disclaimer. I'm not an international branding specialist, nor am I a marketing guru. What I am is just another guy in tech sharing own experience. And just as Kevalia and Bart was saying, we all are learning. We might have subject matter expertise, but for other stuff, we are learning. And the essence of open source is we are learning together. There's no competition. It's a very open and collaborative space. So what I'm sharing today is nothing an expert advice. It's just another friend sharing their own experience. In terms of agenda, it's a pretty simple. I'll cover the what, why, and how of personal branding. Now, which one of these cans would you pick up if you're into soft drinks? I don't know which one are you picking up because I can see if it was an in-person conference or talk, I could see up the number of raised hands. But my guess would be it would be probably the one at the very right. And that's because each of these drinks has a brand associated to that. If you assume that the content within is the same, but the logo carries a weight, and that is justified by this word, FANG. How many of you know this word, FANG? So we kind of associate a happy job with this idea of FANG or similar companies. And if you do that, you're absolutely not wrong, my friend. If you see this list of companies with brand values, it's not only the compensation, it's not only about the work-life balance, it's about how much weight these brands carry. So when you're considering to join any of these companies, it's not just a company, you're also joining that brand, and that brand gets attached to your individual brand, and it kind of elevates your brand in society, in the corporate, and whatnot. All right, so if we sum up what is personal branding, you can think of it as your perceived reputation. It's also a conscious effort to establish or elevate your credibility. And for our case, it's going to be our credibility in the industry to our prospective employers or hiring manager. It's also a genuine and consistent effort to achieve or maintain the above two. Now you can ask me, hey, Dewan, like, why should I consider about branding at all, right? Like, I'm fine writing my code. I'm applying to some companies. I might get some interviews. I might even get a job. Why do I consider or I even care about personal branding? So here's why. Everyone wants to hear a unique and personal story. So when recruiting managers or hiring managers, they're trying to find a candidate from their end, everything is just a resume. From those resumes or portfolios, they're looking to see unique stories. So, as human beings from the ancient days, we all love to hear a story. So, when we gather around the fireplace and we heard some stories from that point up to the present days, everyone loves a good story. What your brand is actually a story of yourself. The second point is individual brands collectively influence a company's brand. And what I mean by that is imagine company X and 10,000 people work at that company X. Now, those 10,000 people, if all of them have their own LinkedIn or Twitter, if they're sharing amazing stuff about that company, imagine how it elevates the company's brand. From our research, it shows that when a company shares its own success, from that point, if an employee shares the company's success, it's much, much more higher to be receptive in the industry. And finally, if you imagine that of that soft drinks example, which I showed at the beginning, the brand or personal branding puts a package on you. That means if you consider yourself without any brand or tag, a branding or marketing adds value to you so that you can sell yourself. And for our case, selling ourselves might be getting our first job in tech, might be switching to the desired job in tech. All right, so I'll give you 4 or 5 points on how to do personal branding. Again, I'm not a marketing specialist, nor I'm a branding specialist. So this is something that is kind of working for me. I've seen it work great for other experts in the industry. So feel free to adjust it accordingly. First of all, you have to know your audience. So who are you targeting your branding towards? So typically, these would be recruiters, technical recruiters, or hiring managers in the industry. This could also be other professionals in the industry who can refer you for your future role. So understanding your audience is important. Next, you have to find your niche. And it's kind of an overly used word, but imagine if you're a software developer who claim to know everything from AWS to backend to Java, Spring, frontend, BGP, whatnot. It kind of makes you very generic. No one knows you as a subject matter expert on anything. So even when you're starting your career, you have to find your niche, something you like over other topics, and start promoting yourself on this topic. How to do that? Coming up in the very next point. So you have to know your platform. That means nowadays, for software professionals, whether you're a coding professional or a non-coding professional, that means my talk is not specific to people who are writing code, but anyone in the software industry, you have to know the platform. So the platform would be LinkedIn, number one choice. And let's say if you're active on Twitter, that can be very engaging as well, especially tech Twitter is very active. Now, from the coding side, you might have a portfolio on GitHub. And these are the platforms which you need to know how it operates and how you can showcase yourself on these platforms. Now, you might have heard the phrase, content is king or queen. Scratch that. Consistent content is king or queen. What I mean by that is on these platforms, once you know your audience and once you know your niche, you have to identify what kind of content you'll be focusing on. Now, that content could be anything. You might say, hey, Dewan, like I'm just starting out. Let's say I'm getting engaged with the DoK community and I see like experts, they're talking about databases and Kubernetes and whatnot, and I don't know a thing about that. How can I start writing contents when I'm just starting? That's perfectly okay. You can read an article and share what you understood from that article. If you find a good blog, you can share that blog with a few lines of your own, that this is an excellent blog that talks about XYZ, and I learned about ABC, and I plan to do something. Doesn't matter. It's just about creating consistent content targeting to your audience on these platforms. And trust me, my friend, if you keep doing that, your personal branding will go to the next level. Now, what I shared, these 4 topics, these are definitely not everything you can do for your personal branding. There are a ton of courses online actually taught by marketing and branding specialists, which will give you much more in-depth idea. But if you'd like to take away 2 points from this talk, is the first one is what is personal branding and why it matters. The second thing is start creating content consistently. So I hope this session was beneficial to you. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I almost live on LinkedIn, and I'm trying to up my Twitter game, and that's my blog handle. I love to connect to folks. I love to network. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Good. Very practical. We even got comments in the YouTube chat saying that they love the sound of your voice. I do too. It's very relaxing. One thing I want to know though is that You mentioned about creating content, and I think for a lot of folks, it's kind of daunting or it seems overwhelming, thinking because I think people put too much pressure on themselves, feeling that my first post or my first video needs to get 5 million views. In my experience, it probably won't be until your 15th, your 25th, or maybe your 50th, because you'll be learning and iterating on the go to understand that it's a process. It's normal that you might feel frustrated, like, darn it, like I didn't get the views that I was hoping for on the first initial thing. But I really want to encourage young folks, or anybody out there, don't get frustrated just off one thing. It's a process, trial and error. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, Bert. And I think it's the effect of dopamine. Like these days, we try to look at our phone and see, hey, how many likes or reactions did I get from my recent content? It's natural, but when you're starting out, even if you're a veteran in this industry, try to get away from that mindset. So personally, what I do is every quarter, I do a performance report for me, right? So that my manager can see what Dewan did in the last 3 months. So I tell myself that, okay, if I'm writing a content, like after 3 months, it's very easy to forget what I did 3 months back. So what I do is I have a list of every talk I deliver. Even like today's talk, I'm going to add an entry in that list saying that on October 6th, I delivered a DoK session on personal branding, and this is my slides, and this many people attended. All these metrics I'll add there, not for anyone else to see, just for my own record so that my manager can see that. And probably it's going to be beneficial for me and my company as well. So remove that dopamine factor on how many likes or comments or share you're getting, but do it for yourself. If you come to that mindset, you won't have any pressure. There is no barrier to enter. And yeah, absolutely agree with you, Bert, that don't worry about that 5 million views. Just focus on how it's beneficial to yourself.
That's a great point, and really investing in yourself and I also invite, because the majority of the speakers that we've had today are giving their talks giving a talk for the first time, which is huge. And I want to invite all of them, which is why the follow-up after the event, folks are going to be writing blog posts. You're going to see a lot of activity on LinkedIn. It's like, you've done the work. Now take advantage of it and share it. And so I encourage everyone as well, too, that's giving a talk today, add that in your LinkedIn profile, in your description, saying talks given. And even if there's only one, you got to start somewhere, and then you'll find an opportunity to give the second one. So I think it's a real luxury to be in the position that I'm in. And I think also, both of us being active in the CNCF, that you being able to create a space where people can have these experiences is just a wonderful thing to be able to do. So anyway, very good talk. Thank you very much. We will try to help you up your Twitter game and get you some more followers on there. But Dewan is also extremely active on LinkedIn. Contact him. He's very accessible. If not on LinkedIn, CNCF Slack, Kubernetes Slack. You're doing a lot of stuff. I think you're giving a talk in KubeCon as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm running a 3-hour K8S 101 track. That's part of OpenShift Commons.
Nice. All right. So if you want to check that out, also 101 track, great for folks that are kind of new to the game to get involved. Definitely great having you. And are you going to be in KubeCon next week?
Probably not. I'm gonna join remotely, but hopefully next year.
Okay. Well, in one way or another, I hope to see you soon, either online or in person. Thank you very much, Dewan.
Same here, and all the best to the DoK team.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Cheers.
Bye.